Hello and welcome to today's edition of Route 664, The Road to Human Kindness. I'm your host, Les Winston, and I'm the national spokesperson for socialsecharity.org. That's a project of the Endow American Network Foundation. The Endow American Network Foundation has several missions. One mission is to educate the public about the use of Section 664 and other social security devices. Those devices are good to use for transactions where you're trying to limit the amount of tax that you may have to pay as a result of the transaction, selling appreciated assets. It also helps you increase reliable income that you can use later in life or now. And you can also do something important for the community that you live in and about nonprofit organizations that you care about. Those NGOs, those nonprofit organizations, it's very important that we support them. And supporting them through social security is pretty well documented as an effective and very powerful way to do that. The second mission is to increase the number of advisors, to educate advisors about the use of social security in their planning or in their advice to their clients. And it's the piece that's been missing for a long time, where the advisor community has a little bit of knowledge about these devices, but is not fully prepared to the point where they can create these devices for you easily. And now we have a way to do that. We want to help advisors advise you how to use social security devices. And the third objective is to increase the number of advisors who are capable of using these social security tools for your benefit, to a total of 45,000 by the year 2027. That means we would like to get more people into the profession. We want them to understand what it is to be a professional philanthropic advisor and how to use the social security devices to the best of the client's needs and ability to deal with gifts that they would be making in the future along the philanthropic lines. That's important. We want the philanthropic education to help increase the charitable wealth of the country. If we increase the charitable wealth of the country, we can eliminate government having to support NGOs. That is backwards. We don't want the government to be the supporter of NGOs. They're non-governmental organizations. It doesn't make any sense. What we want to do is we want to support those at the community level through endowments left by the citizens in the community. That's the way that this was created in 1969, and that was Congress's intent, was to increase the charitable wealth of the country. That's why they created Section 664 of the tax code. Unfortunately, most people don't know it exists. And so this program, Route 664, The Road to Human Kindness, is a way for us to increase the public's awareness of those numbers, just those digits. Just like you know what a 401k is or a 529, we want you to be familiar with a Section 664. So when the time comes when you may have a non-cash asset that you're liquidating or that you want to change into another asset, you can avoid taxes in those transactions by using these devices. And it needs to become a part of your normal everyday thinking that if I have a transaction where I'm going to have a capital gains tax or I'm going to have a serious income tax issue, I should look to Section 664 as a way to possibly reduce those taxes. That needs to be the norm. Just as 401k is the norm, you don't make any objections to your employer taking money out of your account to put into your 401k plan because you know that it's beneficial. And you know it's beneficial because it's been accepted in the public psyche. That's what we want to do here. We want to get you to accept 664 in the public psyche. Social security is what we've branded it, and that is a major project, and that is the project of the Endow American Network Foundation. I would like to tell you that we have corporate sponsorships available now, and we can provide you with income. If you go to the website, socialsecharity.org, how corporate sponsors can get involved with this program, with this project, and help us to change the country from 30 trillion in debt to 30 trillion in endowment in the NGO sector. I've been interviewing, as you know, from past shows, I've been interviewing other professional philanthropic advisors around the country. And we're joined now by one of the most famous professional philanthropic advisors. He was and is an ambassador for the designation, for the profession, Alan Pratt. Alan joins us from Seattle, or the Seattle area, and it's early out there. How are you, Alan?
Good morning, Les. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yes.
Actually, there's an update for you. I am in Minneapolis, so there's a change since the last time we talked. So anyway, I'm only one time zone away from you.
That's better, right? So how are you, Alan?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. My wife and I moved here a few months ago, and we're enjoying it. We're near our grandkids who are in the area here, but staying active in the things that you and I love so much. And that's the reason why we're talking right now.
Yeah, you were one of the original signers of the Declaration of Interdependence that we signed all those years ago,
yes,
where we attempted to create and are working to finish the creation of the public's awareness of how to feel better, how to be kind to others. Mm-hmm. So, Alan, you've been a CAP for
about 15 years. I think it was 05, 06 was the area. It ranged where I earned it. It was one of the wisest decisions I made in my career, which is now, my goodness, a few decades. Yeah.
That CAP is the Chartered Advisor in Philanthropy designation, which is offered by the American College. And so tell the audience a little bit about your background, why philanthropy is so important to you.
Well, when I entered in the early years of my career, I'll just put times on it. This is late 70s and throughout the 80s and in the early 90, 91, 92. I was in the financial industry, but I was in the banking business. And then when I switched over into financial advising in the early 90s, it didn't take me very long in my own heart to see that I loved working with clients that had an attitude around selflessness, around others, and with the capacities that they were giving that was various, from modest financial capacity to very, very robust financial capacity. The thing that I discovered then that I'm still very much entrenched with today is this statement. I love working with people that have big hearts. And what I mean by that, they have a desire to want to do these things, irregardless of what the size of the financial statement is. Well, I learned that early on through just in the road at School of Hard Knocks, just being in the industry in the early to mid 90s. And then it was so refreshing for me that I really decided around the mid 90s to form my practice around the practice of giving. And so when I started my own firm in 1997, which we called Pratt Legacy Advisors, at the heart of that firm, which went on until 2019 and 2020, where I've got a new update, which I can share with you. But at the heart of that was working with people that had a desire to really give back. And it was already in their heart, but they didn't know how to apply these things to their balance sheet. And that's what you do so well, and what many of our colleagues that are fellow CAPs do well. But you're right, the general public, whether they're business owners or very influential folks, most of the time don't have this general knowledge that the entire balance sheet that they're stewarding is available for generosity, the entire balance sheet. So anyway, that's
well, I know, I appreciate that, and that comes out in the way that you carry yourself in this profession. And I know that you've been talking around the country. Do you see an increase in the number of interested parties with regard to becoming professional advisors in this field?
My personal observation is, I don't know that I see it in people that are entering the field and want to do it, but I do see it with people that have been in the advisory capacity in the field and somewhere midstream, 5, 10, 15 years into their career as an attorney, as a CPA, as a financial advisor, many see that maybe it touches their heart. For me, it touched me about 3 years in. But I do see that happening. I mean, I'll give you an example, and I can't use proper names, but I was talking with a very large national advisory firm just the other day here in Minneapolis. And I think they have around 13,000 reps, 13,000 reps that work for this organization. You would recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
But inside of that group of 13,000, they have about 1,800, which is a pretty good percentage. 1,800 out of the 13,000 that really want to focus in this area of generosity and giving. And so that's more.
Great.
I mean, so we're seeing more of that with groups inside of larger groups that are wanting to get in and understand it and collaborate and learn and bring these tools to their clients.
How do you work with other advisors, or do you work with the public directly, or you work with other advisors?
The answer is both. I am now with a national 501c3 organization called the Signatory. We are headquartered in near Kansas City, Missouri, in Overland Park, Kansas, and we've been around for 21 years. So I segued. I basically transitioned my private practice 2 years ago into where now I am working with both families of significance that are generous, that want to learn these tools, advisors that advise them, and the 501c3s that are served by them, that are the recipients of their wealth. So I work in all three of those areas: families, advisors, and 501c3s.
That's great. And Alan is a member of the Council of Professional Philanthropic Advisors. He's listed on the council. He's listed on the Council of Professional Philanthropic Advisors. If you want to find information about Alan, you can go to socialsecharity.org and slow down, socialsecharity.org, and look for find an advisor, and Alan will come up on that list. Alan, I know that you're very involved on the soft side, and you are dealing with people, many cases where the tax issue isn't that important. But how do you see the country moving forward with the kind of debt that we have now? How is the financial picture going to change in the future without people getting involved in supporting their community? I mean, in other words, is the future what we're talking about? Is the future that the country is better off without government providing money to NGOs and it coming from the heart in the community?
Oh, in the folks that I'm talking with, the answer is absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm been blessed to work with some business owners pretty much all over the country that are having what we would refer to as financial events. They're forthcoming. It's going to happen 3, 4, 5 months out in the future, and this financial event is going to be significant. And in the in the traditional sense of going through that financial event, it's going to create a 7 or maybe even 8-digit tax consequence for this event. And what we try to do in working with these folks, because they have a desire to take 10, 20, 30, 50% of that financial event and redirect it towards charitable causes, and I won't say virtually eliminate, but significantly reduce the tax burden on that event and direct it toward the charitable bucket. So I'm seeing that sort of zeal and zest and enthusiasm around our country regularly, and that is a positive trend.
That's a win-win-win-win situation. Yeah, everybody wins in that.
Yeah.
Alan, so what's the happiest event that you can experience going forward?
Oh my goodness. There's so many. And I'm not going to equate it to size. I'm going to equate it to kind of impact on where it impacted people based on the passion of the donor/client. We have a couple in the Seattle area that just have a fabulous story, a story of redemption and restoration that will just probably have you cry because it's so wonderful today, but it was not wonderful 35 or 40 years ago. They were in a tough place, but where they are now, because of her story, this is the female of the in the family, the wife. They have created an organization called Providence Heights. It's in Seattle. People can look it up online. But because her husband was an entrepreneur and recently had an event like I described, it was a sizable event, they were able to put a big portion of that event into funding what is now Providence Heights, which is a restoration place for women in the Seattle area. That is, it's just, I get chills just talking about it. And there's more, but that's probably one that would come to my mind initially.
That's great. And we'll look forward to hearing more about that when it comes through, when it finishes. But Alan, thank you very much for joining us on Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness. Alan Pratt from Seattle, currently sitting in Minneapolis. Is that right?
Well, actually moved to Minneapolis. Okay, so I actually in Minneapolis now for the foreseeable future.
Okay, so that's the wonder of our technology today. Thanks for joining us, Alan. Appreciate the time. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye. So it's time for a commercial, not a commercial break. It's a time for a serial break, an episodic break. It's a break with charity.
Yay!
The scene is black and white on a dark and gloomy day in America as a family of four are setting out on a road trip across the states. But there's a big problem. It's strangely raining red negative dollar signs, and they're falling on the car's windshield. The wipers fail to brush them off, and they can't possibly see where they're going or the cliff they are dangerously speeding towards. Out of nowhere, they see a beautiful Corvette race by them. The paint job in the stark red, white, and blue contrast to the whole background, the stars and stripes clearly visible on the vehicle. The Corvette slides to a stop in front of the cliff as our hero Charity jumps out with an acrobatic move and uses her special DJ powers as musical notes emanate from her voice, clearing up the weather and making the red negative dollar signs stop. She then directs her music to the cliff, the musical notes calling her three trustees to action.
Cigarette, crashes, pickets, I need you guys. Let's build some bridges.
The three seemingly alien wizards of unknown origin sweep in from the sky and shoot laser beams from their eyes. The beams creating three bridges through which the family and any American family can safely drive to make it across the dangerous terrain. Charity and her friends save the day. The family stopped the car once across one of the bridges because they wanted to know who the heroes were.
Gosh, thank you all so very much. How can we ever repay you? Wait, who are you all anyway?
No need to thank us, folks. My name's Charity, and these are my friends, Gigaro, Crashes, and Pithicus. We seek no reward except that you learn and tell others about social security.
Social what? Security?
No, social security, like my name. It refers to Route 664, the road to human kindness. And it's a way for you and the rest of the nation to save your future and endow America with financial prosperity. You see, much like all of you, America is being overwhelmed by debt. And most folks can't seem to see the dangerous cliff we're approaching. With nearly $30 trillion in national debt, Social Security was designed for a few generations in the past, and it's quickly running out. We want more Americans to consider Social Security, which saves America's economy through the power of philanthropy, the love of humanity.
Social Security gives you the power to give to the charity or cause of your choice. Endowing them with financial security so they don't have to rely so much on Uncle Sam. That way, the government reduces your taxes, and you get a steady stream of income that has the potential to grow each year.
Many years down the road, at the end of your life, the remainder of the money you accumulated goes to endowing those philanthropies you choose so that your legacy will go on long after for your children and grandchildren.
If enough Americans choose social charity, we can ultimately save America from a financial crisis and ensure your kids have a more prosperous future.
Who can we talk to about this?
You're in luck, folks. I represent a council of professional philanthropic advisors who can help you and all Americans create more charitable wealth for yourself and America. You can get in touch with them at socialsecurity.org, socialsecurity.org. You can also watch our weekly webcast called Route 664, The Road to Human Kindness. And tune into Route 664 Radio for some awesome music and engaging discussions. Like us on Facebook at Social Security. And with your help, we can endow America!
Thank you, Charity. That was episode 1, The Cliff. And you can see that on, you want to watch it again in case you missed anything, on our YouTube channel or on Facebook, and also on community newspapers where this will replay. And you'll hear the audio at least on our radio program when we replay our interviews. And I wanted to now switch gears a little bit and go to a gentleman who is very, very knowledgeable in the area of philanthropic planning. He is a chartered advisor in philanthropy, as well as a CPA and an AEP. And Mike Kohner joins us now from West Palm Beach. We're moving around the country today. How are you, Mike? Oh, bip, bip. Speaker's not working. Can't hear you. Sound test. Okay, we're going to have to get our technical difficulties straightened out with Mike Kohner. Michael, if you can hear me, see if you have your speakers up or maybe your volume up. In any case, I'm going to have to ad-lib a little bit, which is very easy for me to do when I talk about philanthropy. So our projects in the Endow America Network Foundation have been to help schools, great schools, safe schools, also to do safe streets, great streets, safe care, great care, and safe homes, great homes. And what we are doing is creating devices, social charity devices that you can use to support those in any one of those categories in any way that you see fit to whichever charitable organization you are attuned to that you would like to support. The benefits of doing that will be reduced taxes. You'll be able to contribute non-cash assets in the form of stock, whether it's closely held stock or traded stock. You can do that with collections. You can do that with real estate. You can do it with any other non-cash asset, or you can do it with cash. The idea is to find a way to help balance maybe the tax position that you're in to offset a gain that you may have had, or if you want to eliminate a gain in the future. These are all methods that have been long established and have been codified in court decisions over the years as to be they're very, very valuable and purposeful. In fact, the Honorable Learned Hand in one of his decisions regarding charitable planning said that the law does not demand, you're not duty bound to pay the most that the law extracts. You have the right and privilege to reduce your taxes as much as possible. And that there are two taxpayers in the country, one, the informed and the uninformed. And it's important for you to be an informed taxpayer. If you don't think you're a philanthropist, you are. If you're a taxpayer, you're just an involuntary philanthropist, and you have the right to change that to voluntary philanthropy using these social charity devices and doing them effectively. If you can use the planning tools made available, for you not to use them or not to know about them is really a shame. So you really got to take time and learn what we're talking about with regard to social charity and social charity tools. We also are very happy about the progress of our radio station, route664.org/radio. You can hear classical music, you can hear jazz, you can hear the selections of Wanda Miles, our terrific producer, and also some of the features that we've been talking about here on the program, Heroic Friday, as well as the Adventures of Charity. And then, of course, you can also hear these interviews that we're doing from time to time with charitable advisors, with professional philanthropic advisors around the country. We want you to understand the principles involved here. We are trying to get the government some relief. We want to reduce the amount of expenditures that the government has to make to non-governmental organizations, and we can do that by supporting them through endowment. If we can endow a hospital in every community where the hospital never has to worry about where it's going to get the money to support it from, it's going to come from a charitable endowment, just like the endowment that Harvard has or any of the major schools have. They have endowments that are so large that they can actually provide all the support for their organization from the endowment. That's what we would like to do. If we can endow a hospital in every community, we can reduce the cost of medical care. And the government, they'll like that. That's what they did this for. In 1969, when they passed Section 664 of the tax code, it was their intent to increase the charitable wealth of the country to offset some of the needs that they would have to be fulfilling under their payments to the NGOs. So we want to change things, and we can shift that. We estimate that by 2050, if we're able to use voluntary social security and mandatory social security, we can reduce government debt by $28 trillion. We can increase the charitable wealth sector by $28 trillion. That's a big transfer. And that will make government more affordable. It will ease our overall financial problems on a national level. And it will also provide endowment for the citizens because they have created a gift that they're going to leave behind as a legacy. I want to thank Alan Pratt for joining us today on Route 664. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. And hopefully we'll have Mike Kohner back with us. Is Mike on now?
No, we're going to go with Joe Knows.
Oh, okay. Okay, very good. Joe, are you there?
No, Joe Knows. Joe Knows.
Oh, Joe knows. Okay, sorry. We're going to be, so I'm gonna fade out. Bye.
Hi, it's Joe Gabris again, and I'm out here, Miami Squeeze. Miami Squeeze is located on 18315 West Dixie Highway, North Miami Beach, and it's right outside of Aventura, conveniently on Dixie Highway and 180 Northeast 183rd Street. Miami Squeeze is open from 10 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., and they serve a variety of juices, wheatgrass juice, whatever mix that you want as well. They do serve lunch and dinner. Florida is open and booming, all right? Beautiful thing here over at Miami Squeeze. It is an outdoor, like tiki environment. It's another reason to come out here and enjoy. You do not have to worry about germs and viruses that are normally contained inside. And by the way, all of the restaurants, all of the hotels here in Aventura, Sunny Isle Beach, they are all trying their best to employ this technology. Now, what we'd like you to do is to join the Aventura Sunny Isle Beach Chamber of Commerce. Please check us out. You're playing a crucial role in the opening up of businesses here in Florida. Businesses are not open everywhere in the United States, so they're all coming down here to Florida. And where else are they going to come? The Garden Spot. What is it that Jackie Gleason said? The Miami Beach audience is the best audience in the entire world. And you'd wonder why. Anybody that comes to Miami Beach, especially Aventura and Sunny Isle Beach, they're happy. They're relaxed. The bars are open. The restaurants are open. Everyone is having a wonderful time. So you got to come down too. And if you want to come down and if you own a business, this is the place that you want to be. Check us out. We want you to join. You're playing a critical part in the opening up of the Florida market. Check us out at asibchamber.org. We thank you so much, and we're looking forward to seeing you. Once again, check us out at asibchamber.org.